So, this will be my third trip to the Philippines. Just got back in March 2017 with my wife, um, which my wife is a Filipino, and we go over and I wish we could spend more time there. We usually go over for like 2 weeks at a time. I wished I could go for three weeks to a month, but with our work, our jobs, it doesn't permit that. So I wanted to touch on some things that I noticed this on this last trip, that are for the better in the Philippines. I noticed that they um, have completed some of the highways that was not completed 2 years ago. The last time we were there, um, in and around the Montalupa City area, right out in the Manila area, I noticed they had completed some of those highways, and gotta say they look fabulous. They did an excellent job on the highways. So it's good to see that they're uh, getting a lot of the highways done. I have noticed though that there's a lot of construction going on over there. This last trip, they're putting up new buildings, working on older buildings, just a lot of construction, which is good because it's good for the economy and it puts people to work. So that's a good thing. The other thing, um, wait, I need to touch on that. That is something else that is mind blowing to me. I noticed, you know, I was watching some of these men working on these buildings, and they just amaze me. They amaze me that they don't. It almost seems like they don't even wear harnesses. Okay, and they're on these high-rise buildings. Is that true? I don't know if that's true or not, but I didn't see that they were using any kind of safety devices on these buildings. And just the way they do things in the Philippines when they're construction on these buildings, it's amazing. It's amazing on how they do things. Here, of course, in the States, they have the technology, they have the things that they need for safety. In fact, you don't get onto a high-rise building without having harnesses and safety, wires and you know. But I might be wrong on that, but I honestly did not see that on these men working on the buildings, and it just blew me away. It just blew me away. Hats off to them. My goodness. And especially, man, with the heat, being up on them buildings in the heat, I can't even imagine what that's like. That's pretty intense. Okay, so one of the other things that I noticed, garbage. I noticed, like in Manila, they had cleaned up a lot of the streets, which is pretty darn awesome. I mean, that's a great thing to see. That's something I think as a country, I think the government should be putting something into place to stop this dumping of garbage on the streets and dumping garbage wherever. I personally, I think that the government should take some money and put some people to work cleaning up garbage and try to set a better example, and also like here in the States, if you're caught throwing garbage on the ground, you get a big fine for that. It's a big no-no. So I really think that they should be putting better things into place for the people. And why not, man? Let's put some people to work cleaning up the garbage. They sure as hell put it there. So why don't you put them to work and put some money in their pockets for cleaning it up? Clean up the rivers. The country needs that. That place would be so much more. It would just bring the beauty out more than what it does. The garbage thing is just, man. There's a serious problem with that over there. But hey, that's obviously something that the government. I guess they're okay with it. I don't know. The other thing I noticed was Uber. They're using Uber The taxi service in the Philippines now, which those of us that are foreigners coming into the country, we do use that service. We use it here as well, and it's a wonderful service, and we used it quite often when we were there. It does cost a little bit more, but it's worth it because one, you're in the comfort of air conditioning, the comfort of it's like a newer car, and I noticed everywhere that we had gone, my wife and I, we've noticed a lot of the foreigners are using that service. So I'm kind of thinking that there's a good possibility that it had a great effect on these other taxi services in those areas. I really think that they're kind of hurting a little bit because Uber stepped in. And the other good thing about Uber is it put people to work, man. You know what I mean? It put people to work. My wife's cousin, Kenner, he is driving for Uber, and he's doing very well with Uber. So, in fact, he drove us around quite often while we were there. So, that's three of the things that I noticed that have changed in the Philippines. As far as the people don't change. The people are still just amazing. I love the Philippine people. You're all just so loving and very humble people, and you know, that's, what more can I say? You can't ask for nicer people. Now I do plan in my future, which is down the road, quite a ways yet, but I do plan on retiring and moving to the Philippines to live out the rest of my years. I love everything about the Philippines. It's just its beauty, the people. It's just a more simple way of living, in my opinion. You don't have, like here in the States, my wife found out when she came here to the States, she found out that you literally have to work your butt off to make that money. You're working your butt off to make the money. And it's so much harder here in the States. Now, I'm not putting down my country. Okay, I love the U.S. You know, there's a lot of great opportunities here, but it's just hard because you literally have to work just to survive. And you know, it's like that for a lot of people here in the States. It's very hard for them to try to make ends meet. If you don't have two people working in the household to try to keep things going with paying the bills, putting food on the table, and it's just one person working because the other's having a difficult time finding a job, it is a lot of stress for the whole entire family. So yeah, it's a lot different here now. A lot of people say, "Oh, I want to come to the U.S." You know, because yeah, you do have more opportunities here. The chances of you finding a job are greater, yes, but you will work your butt off to earn that money. So, with that being said, that's pretty much it. I've just noticed a lot of construction. The highways some of the highways have been completed. They're using the Uber system now for taxis. The people remain the same. I love yous all. In fact, my wife and I, you know, we get back, it was around March 17th is when we arrived back in the U.S. And that same day, I just wanted to have them turn the plane around and get right back because I just love everything about the Philippines. Although I did get sick, y'all. I got sick. I actually caught a virus here in the States when we were leaving, and it was during the international flight from Chicago to Tokyo. I started to feel not so good, and then I developed the runs. Yeah, I'm putting it out there, y'all. I got the runs, okay? And you don't want to be on an international flight and have the runs, because I can guarantee you this. If anybody has traveled internationally, you know there's always people standing in line to use the bathrooms. and that's pretty much how it was. And it's hard to pinch a cheek when you got the runs. All right, so um, one of the other things that I experienced was while I was there, because I was under the weather a bit, and it lasted for almost a week that we were there. Spent 2 weeks there. The first week I was a bit under the weather. I had an extremely sore throat. It was so hard for me to swallow anything. It was brutal. It turned out that, my wife says, listen, we got to go see a doctor. So we go see a doctor, prescribes me an antibiotic, and I have a bad reaction to these medicines. And now my feet are swelling, my legs are breaking out, like I have chicken pox. It was bad. It was just, my legs just, in fact, it took my legs from the time I was there, um, getting back to the States on the 17th. My legs did not clear up till almost towards the end of, or actually straight into April. My legs were, it took that long for my legs to clear up. But, and that's the other thing when you travel, it's medicines in different countries are different than what you're used to. Here in the US, medicines are a lot stronger, and we're used to certain medicines here. And when you're taking a medication from another country, well, with what I had experienced, I had a bad reaction to it, and an allergic reaction, I should say, and that's what happened. It just affected my lower legs, nothing else. So, yeah, that's something you have to be careful with. But all in all, it was a great trip. I got a lot of great footage. If y'all haven't had the chance to check out my YouTube channel, please do, and subscribe. Okay, subscribe and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. So, with that being said, I hope y'all have a great day, and I want you all just to be happy with whomever you're with, and just keep it all real. Keep it real. Talk at you later. Bye.